Welcome to Polished-ish. Polished-ish is where real stories meet real lessons. Hosts Ruma, Julianne, and Jerry share unfiltered conversations about failure, growth, and the messy beauty of life, proving that imperfection is where the magic happens. So pull up a chair, because life isn't polished, it's polished-ish. Welcome to Polished-ish, where life isn't polished and neither are we.
Hello,
We're
hello.
back.
Hello. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Very, very well. Keeping control in the chaos.
Hey, so I hear we all have travel coming up, right? So we're all taking trips, and it got me thinking, like, what was your most memorable, impactful trip? When you took it and you came back, you're like, wow, that really had a profound impact on me as a person, or your family, or others? I'm curious.
Yeah. Julianne, you are such a well-traveled person. You want to get us started? I'm trying to think about, I did a year when I finished my PhD, and I was doing research. And so I ended up going to 25 countries in a year. And I was living in New York at the time, and so many interesting, profound experiences. But I will say I really, really loved Egypt. Oh yeah, Egypt.
It's on my list. Egypt's on my list for sure.
Yeah, Egypt was amazing. And not only just like all of the pyramids and all that stuff, but just like the culture and the people. And I think maybe also like what I thought I was going to get there. Like, cause sometimes when I'm traveling, I feel nervous, right? Like traveling alone, or even though I had a big group of friends I was with there, I was meeting there. It was during Ramadan. And so I fasted with my friends and just learning about that. And then also like they got me dressed up in an abaya. So learning what was that like? The kind of freedom, like I had these perspectives before I went about like, oh, here we are and they're making women cover themselves and all this stuff. And then you try it and you realize like, no, I mean, you have total freedom. Like it just really broadened my perspective on kind of what my thoughts were based on the Western culture to what multiple truths and realities might be. And I think that really kind of ruptured some of the preconceived notions I had about the world. It just opened me up in a lot of ways to looking at things really differently.
Yeah, love it. What about you, Ruma?
So, I think one of the memorable trips we took was in Spain. We traveled through 4 cities, we took the train, etc. And, in Barcelona, right? Barcelona, I had never been to Barcelona before. And in India, we would go to, it's a night city, right? Mumbai is a night city. You go to Chowpatty Beach at midnight and it's full of people. And in Barcelona, we were out and we saw families are out with their kids, like in the night, culturally, we feel like we may be so different, but actually it was similar. Like they wanted to spend time with their children and this is the time they had. And after dinner, they would go out and walk around in the streets. And that was just building off what Julianne, you said, you learn different perspectives, right? And one of the things I have learned through my travels is people are more similar than different, right? We actually have similar things in our culture. We love to spend time with our food is a big part of our culture. The sort of the aspect of family is such a big part of cultures, which is, I think, similar wherever you go, right? So I think that was a memorable trip for me is, going to Alhambra, but just, just traveling through Spain and learning about a culture where I didn't know the language, right? And you learn to communicate.
Language.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn to communicate. Yeah, we've talked a lot on previous podcasts about culture in companies. And I think culture in countries is also very, very interesting. And I agree with both of you. I think that's the most impactful thing for me is when I was just in Tokyo and the culture is just so different. They don't have trash cans because people don't walk around eating and throwing things away. So because they don't have trash cans, you don't see a lot of birds. You don't see a lot of litter. It's a very clean city. Everybody is super polite. You could ask anybody anything and they'll do their best to give you direction. So culture is always something that's impacted me when I've traveled. I've been to Cambodia. I've also been to Spain. And I also witnessed in Italy, the whole family thing at 9:30 at night, the kids are coming out and getting gelato and they're sitting on the bridge watching fireworks over the water and the families are all there. And you realize everybody wants the same things in life, right? Wherever you go, it's family. You want to feel safe. Everybody wants the same things. And I think traveling and getting out of your comfort zone and your little world and seeing other worlds really helps you grow as a person and makes you tolerant.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. We travel, we do a family vacation with all the kids once a year at least. We'll do this one big vacation. And I felt like every time we have done that, the kids have grown up. They have become mature because they find a way to go to a new place and learn how to go around that and respect other cultures and learn from like, oh, what's going on? What's right here? So I think travel, whatever kind of travel you do, either very far or somewhere close by, it just definitely enriches you. It enriches you
Do you ever do this? Like, you're in San Francisco and you're walking around and you see a tourist that's kind of lost and you're like, hey, can I help you?
all the time.
And they're probably like, stay away from me, creep. And you're like, I'm just trying to be helpful.
Yeah. If I hear
I feel like when I
somebody,
lived in New York, that was the big thing is like they were the most helpful people, right? Like they were so like they could totally you would get stopped and it was like, yeah, I know how hard it is to be new here because I had lived there for like 15 years. So it's like, okay, no, you got to get out of it. I'm in Times Square because I'm doing business, but you need to leave this part of town and this is how you get out of here. And then you need to go here, right? Or you just find but I have kind of found that everywhere, when you're traveling, like the locals are really very there's always someone trying to like get you on a horse and take you to a pharmacy that you don't want to go to. But
Yeah. I remember in Thailand, the Thais are so chatty. I think they just want to practice their English. So you're just
Mhm.
walking and they'll stop just to say something to you. Like, where are you from? Just to practice their English. I'm like, oh, I'm from the United States. Oh, an American. Although these days I might not say that, but anyways,
well, I mean, I think, you know, there is a genuine, people are genuinely nice, I think. Most people are genuinely nice. Like, yes, of course, there are people who are not always have good intentions, but most of the time people want to be helpful. People they want you to have a good experience. So I've traveled quite a bit, right? Through work, etc. If I can, I will always walk in a city. Like if I can, I will not, if it's a walkable city, then I love to see that. And I've never felt unsafe in most places that I've gone is because
yeah.
I ask the local, like, how do I get there? And most of it is sign language.
Although Google Translate has been fantastic. We were in Hakone, and this little kid gets on the train, and he was just fascinated with me and my daughter. And he starts speaking to us in Japanese, and I'm like, oh, English, and he's like, English, right? But he couldn't speak English. So I got my Google Translate out and he kept saying something. And he talked into it and he's like, oh, if you go down to this town, make sure you go to this park. It's really lovely. You'll have a good time. And I was just like, you're an awesome little kid.
So sweet. Yeah, I mean, you're so right. Technology, right? There's a lot of things in technology that I think is probably needs to be addressed, right? But
Mm,
this is the good part of technology. It has actually brought us together. Like Google Maps, for example, you can use Google Maps and see a whole city which you've never been to. And, yes, Google Translate. And so actually, technology here really does help us, bridge some things, right?
mm,
Imagine you having a conversation with a kid and getting tips from him.
fantastic.
I feel like when I really go analog a lot when I travel. You know what I mean? Like I'll usually have like an iPad so I can read and have my books on it and stuff. But one of the things I always love to do when I'm in a new city, that on off bus, like you can get a ticket to a bus that will
What would
take you around the city. And then I'll just stay on that bus and do the whole full loop. And then it's like, okay, now let me plan my time here. Like now I know where, like, but I've seen the stuff. You know what I mean? And like I kind of have because then it's like this I can walk, this I can do, whatever. But yeah, I try to get a little analog. I want to go to Japan. Was Japan amazing, Jerry?
Japan is amazing. I mean, we only did Tokyo, but I can't say enough about the food, how safe you feel, how clean it is, how friendly everybody is, the transportation system. I mean, I was at a crosswalk and there was like two other Japanese people with me, not a car in sight. The hand was red. We're standing there and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll just go. And they didn't go. They stayed and they wait until the hand turns white or green. In the sense, it turns green, and then they went. They're very culture, very rules, very like follow, like, but not in an obnoxious kind of way.
And that tells you so much about them. Like going to that country and seeing that tells you about people who are from Japan, and there's something in that they believe that there's a structure to things and they like to follow things, etc. Right? And yeah, absolutely. Um,
One of our guides, he said there's an old Japanese saying. He said there's actually two, and they're very similar in what their meanings. But he said the nail that sticks out gets hit the hardest. So I think in Japan, like you don't stand out, you kind of blend in. And he said the tallest blade of grass gets cut by the lawnmower, right?
Conformity.
Yeah. So
Conformity.
everyone's wears the black suit with the white tie and the black tie and the white shirt, right? It's
Yeah.
all kind of conformity. You don't see the guy going to work in the red suit.
I just heard that. That's the thing, is because the group is more important than the individual. And where
Exactly.
we are, it's all about the individual, but then you're that blade of grass that's getting chopped every single time. But even when we have been in Switzerland, like I've been corrected jaywalking in Switzerland by a random stranger. Like it's just like we don't do that here. Even though it makes logical sense, but it's like it's good to know those things because you don't want to bump up. Nobody needs to stand out in a foreign culture for sure. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be that blade of grass or that nail.
You hit it. You hit it, right? It is all about the collective and not the individual. Where like here in the United States, it's all about you, me, go, go. Like in there, they think of the other person before they think of themselves.
But
And
that's an amazing, it gives you like it's like, wow, what would it be like to live in there's obviously limits to it, right? There's obviously things about it that would rub the wrong way, but sometimes I listen to a lot of podcasts and radio and stuff. It's just like what I always notice this, the way we talk about the exceptionalism, like, oh, it's the biggest deficit since 2022. It's always this superlative, like random superlative. And I think there's a lot of places where they wouldn't strive to express things in that way, to individualize all of these little things. And then anyway, I think it's a really interesting way to kind of look at things. Gosh, wouldn't it be nice to just blend in and have it be okay instead of constantly trying to make your mark or stand out or
Yeah.
be exceptional in some way?
yeah. Having said that, there is still a lot of innovation coming from there. So there is still an element that, look, being individualistic shouldn't, or being a society focused community does not take away from you trying to do things that are different, right? So there is that balance. Some of these, technologically, these countries are so advanced, and it's not because they have tried to conform, right? It is actually non-conformity in a very different way, right? Non-conformity in terms of trying new things and always trying to make things better. And so
I
there's
think
a
there's
difference between,
systems, like systems that then people follow instead of it, and like somehow no, it doesn't have to apply to you. It's like, how about maybe it does apply to all of us? Why don't we try that
yeah,
in some
definitely.
way?
Coming
Tokyo is a town of millions of people, and I walked all over that city, never heard one car horn, never heard one person yell at anybody. It was just shocking how it just stood out
Yeah.
But
that
was
way.
it? Did you find that so relaxing? Like, where, like, because there's all this thing about being regulated. Like, it sounds very calming. Like, it's like,
It
okay, we
is.
have like, it's just all very tempered.
Yeah.
No,
And
absolutely.
I saw two unhoused people, and the one I saw, and this was near the end of my trip, actually got up and was cleaning up his area to leave. Like he cleaned up everything he had laid on and put it all with him and left. Like didn't leave a sign that who's ever there.
So did you hear about this? It was a World Cup soccer game, and the Japan team lost, but the fans stayed back and cleaned the stadium before they left. So,
there's
and
there's a respect, like a mutual shared respect for the shared spaces. I don't know. I haven't been, but
so, I think travel enriches us and gives us these kind of, and which we can bring, right, and which we can bring to our own spaces to say, okay, well, maybe I will do this. Maybe I will clean up after myself. I don't have to wait for everybody, but what an experience to have. But
yeah.
that's great.
Subconsciously, I've done a couple things like that since coming back from Tokyo. I picked up some paper off the ground and I put it in the trash. And then there's been this calmness that's come over me when just driving and just not worrying about like, okay, that's fine. That person cut me off. That's all right. I'm not going to blow my horn. It's fine. Like there's been this calmness that is still, it's going to go away the longer I stay back in the US.
Yeah, come on.
You are very soon going for a very nice trip. I think your Zen is going to stay. And, I think that's great, right? At least maybe there is a time when you won't do it, but at least it's something that we've learned and that we can bring,
It stretches you like out of the form that you are, and you're not going to go back to the original form ever because somehow you don't fit in it in that way anymore.
I like that.
Right?
It
Well,
does.
no, and wait till you go to Vietnam because number one, if you stop in Ho Chi Minh City, which is maybe where you have to land to get to Hoi An,
Mm.
the scooters, there are scooters are unbelievable. And I will also say just quickly, because when I traveled to Vietnam, yeah, there was still because they have like the Vietnam War memorials and stuff. I wasn't advertising that I was American. Like I was like, oh, Canada, Canadian backpack, Canadian thing. Mostly, sometimes you got it. It's like sometimes it's just the path of least resistance because there were enough people that still remembered that time. I don't know if you found that when you were in Cambodia too. I was just like, yeah, no need to be the loud American. I'm just going to go ahead and fly below the radar here. And the people were amazing and the country was beautiful, but it's also having that sensitivity to dial into what history might be telling you in ways that are not being shouted from the rooftops.
And there's
Well
so much
said.
grace in that, right? Like people who are they'll actually be more gracious, right? They know that it is not you, and I think it's really quite amazing, right? That experience that they are not tying that to you, and we respect the culture, but also know that people are very, very gracious. They want you to have a good experience.
Yeah, and it makes you feel the same when you come back to your own country. So back in the US, I see tourists more and more now, and I'm like, I want them to have a good experience when they come to the United States and not feel like, oh my God, I'll never go back to that country and go back and talk to all their friends about how horrible their experiences was in the Bay Area. So I don't want that to happen.
No.
No.
Every time I hear somebody is going to India or somebody has gone to India and they've had a great experience, it just makes me so happy, right? Because, it is a place where people travel a lot to, but just traveling through India is such a great experience. And even though like language may not be something that not everybody may be speaking as fluent, but they will try and they will go above and beyond. And that's usually what you will hear from people is that I had such a great experience and I wasn't sure. Just, again, the same thing, just respect where you're going and you'll see that you'll get a lot of love back.
Totally agree.
Also, I think there's a big thing to be said for follow the locals lead. Like things work differently in different places. And let's see, how about try it a different way? You know what I mean? It's like, because it may be like, wow, this not honking and getting annoyed with people serves me more than what I'm accustomed to because people, and that's what I feel like when I travel. Things I would not naturally have tried or wouldn't have been my inclination have really changed me. It's like, no, this is it's just, there can be an easier way. And it's funny because I think about something a friend said and I think it applies to this too. It's like, we can't learn everything individually. There's a collective wisdom and societies and cultures possess that collective wisdom. And it's like, if we could tap into it, we could benefit so much instead of trying to learn it all like money and dating and whatever. It's like, how about just tap into the collective wisdom? Because people have been doing this for millennia and something's working because these countries are still here. People are still thriving.
It's so true. Think about when you were saying that, I was thinking about tapping into collective wisdom at work also. Like, how do you tap into, it's the guy that maybe sweeps the floors or he could have the best idea to make the company grow, unless you tap into that, you never know. And I think some
Absolutely.
people think the knowledge sits with leadership or somebody, but it's dispersed across everywhere.
I agree. I mean, they extrapolate that to the stories. Like when you go and you travel, learn the stories and at work too. Like invest the time to learn about the people who you're working with. And you will see like, there's an empathy that you build with that, right? There's an empathy like, oh, I know that this person has this going on in their life and that if they're not responding, I'm going to give them a little bit grace or I will at least try to understand and not just assume. But you will only know that if you want to ask that question to understand, like, hey, tell me what's going on. Like, and it just, the whole person, right? And it's the same experience as you travel is you try to learn about the whole place, just not go see those, monuments or whatever, but understand the history and the culture. And then
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I love going to the museum and the churches, and there's always something in the town you're visiting that, is world famous and you probably got to go see. when I have the most fun on my travels is when I sit at a cafe or and have a glass of wine somewhere or a cup of coffee, and I just watch the people. I listen to them come and go, and I see the families, and I'm like, oh, they must be taking them to school or taking their kids to school, or like, I wonder where he's going all dressed up like that. I just see the ebb and flow of everything that's happening in the city, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say one of the things I learned when I was traveling to Vietnam that I do now religiously when I travel is I started doing these day trips because, and so one was like a cooking class and like of local foods. It was like 3 hours. It was so cool because then you're with like people, the native people, but they're from different towns. And then this other one was just like a day trip that they take you on all these tours and they're trying to like sell you stuff at every stop, which was fine, right? But I ended up being with this family and they had the matriarch who had left years ago. This was her first time back. She was there with like 9 of her kids. Then you're sitting spending the day with them, like people I would not otherwise have collided with, and they weren't tourists. They were all natives, but they were there visiting the city. And I loved that. That was like, because I wouldn't have an opportunity to connect with them for all these hours, because you'll do a couple meals during the day. And that was really amazing. Like, sussing that out. And then, of course, the massages. I mean, I love in all the Asian countries, it's like, oh, yeah, let's get a massage. I was like, oh, I'm here 50 days. So I'm getting a massage every day.
Twice a day. Yes. No, totally.
Yeah, one of a great moment we had in Spain is we went down this path, off the beaten path, down a road, and we walked into this bar, and it was like open mics. There was a piano, and everyone would sit and play the piano. When we went in there, they had just finished a song, and then they switched players, and another person came up to play the piano, and they started singing a Beatles song. Imagine, and everyone was singing in the place, and I was like, "This is great!" Like it was just, and it wasn't tourists; these were all locals, and I was like, "Wow!"
Yeah. We did this one road trip with everyone. We drove from here to Tucson from the Bay Area. And, as you are passing through Death Valley and it was around sunset, all of us were in the car. And I cannot put in words that beautiful sunset that we saw. Like each one of us has it etched in our memory. And so whenever we see a sunset, we will always talk about that. Remember that Death Valley trip? And it was so fun. My mom was with us. And on our way back, we went to Vegas. And it was one of the best trips. And everybody remembers Vegas. We only spent, 24 hours there. But we walked around all the hotels at midnight because we had just gotten off the car after 8 hours of drive. And I'm dragging my mom at midnight, walking through Vegas hotels. And it's like such an experience, just doing those things which you would not do otherwise. You're go to bed by this time, and travel gives you these opportunities where, you are going to do things that you haven't done, but take it and make those memories, and it doesn't take a lot.
There's nothing like a desert sunset.
Yeah. I was going to say, even about travel, I didn't even get my passport till I was 28. I didn't leave the country. So when I was growing up, and I've done abroad and traveled to 50 countries. So I was obsessed with it for a certain time. But when I was growing up, we went camping. Well, that was, grew up in California, state parks, camping every summer. And it's funny, I didn't appreciate until I was much older, how amazing that was too. It's okay, we just go on these crazy hikes, and also just the skills that we built, meeting other kids. Cause this was the 70s and 80s. No one was organizing your time. It was okay, listen, you got the day free, head out, find something to do. But it still taught you all these incredible skills. You'd make friends, you'd have a pack at the campground. You know what I mean? So I feel like anything that gets you out of your day to day is so, as I'm thinking about doing farm chores for the rest of the day today, I'm like, oh, gotta mow the lawn.
Go have a glass of wine with your neighbor after that or something.
Oh yeah, mow my neighbors. Yeah.
Great.
Well, guys, we're coming to kind of the end of time. Our time together. I know we all have trips coming up, so I wish you safe travels and enjoy your adventures, make some new memories, and we'll do it again next.
Compress. Yeah, when we get back together, we'll share our most recent. Well, now we can be focused on these nuances. It'll be fresh in our mind, so that when we come back together, it'll be oh yeah, this, so it'll be worth having to follow up.
All right. Have a great trip, both of you, and talk soon. Take care.
Guys, bye.
Bye.